Hello, this is Dustin DaHusky again, and let's talk about disc golfing. So, this is about October, so by the time this video is out, is going to be December, January. I don't know. I spread these videos on purpose just to kind of spread the joy. So, thought I'd maybe talk a little bit about specific things and then getting more into them. Yeah, and I really like disc golfing. So, I also wrote a little tiny script that I can follow a subject in. I'm just going to see how well this works. So, let us begin. So, disc golfing, or frolf. It is one of my favorite hobbies outside of work, outside of personal life and whatnot. It's something I grew to enjoy over the last 8 years. One of my friends back in 2012, Nimadro, he's a lynx. And me and him went to school together at UW Waukesha, going into automotive mechanical engineering. So we were going for the same thing, and we both like film photography, which I'm going to be doing my mini-series about that, hopefully in the next month. I'm excited. And yeah, I believe it was in the summer of 2012 before getting into UW Waukesha, or it was 2013. Then that means it was 7 years, but I know it's been at least 8 years, I feel like, where he decided to bring me out frolfing, as he put it, or disc golfing. We went to Wales. I think we went to Wales because this is a time when at the Wales Community Center in Wales, Wisconsin, was a totally flat mowed field. Like, there were trees, but totally mowed. There was no tall grass. There was no fairway. It was literally all mowed, which was kind of nice because you didn't have to lose a disc. You knew exactly where you landed, whereas now it's the challenge, which actually made it a lot more fun, made you want to be more on the fairway or on the green. But I believe that's where he took me the first time. Oh, no. Actually, no. I don't think it was even there. I think it was actually at Minnewacan Park in McWanago. I think I remember that because I remember going up to a guy and he was selling discs out of his trunk. Stuff that he finds. So it's all used discs. There might be a few used ones. No, wait a minute. I'm so confused. And I had a script. I'm trying to think which course. I wonder if it may have been... Oh, this is the third time I've now doing this. I think as it was near me, New Berlin's Valley View Park, which has a good disc golf course. Because I remember going to the Speedway gas station down the road that you can actually buy disc golf discs at in the gas station. Anywhere from $7 to $15 a piece, which is where I bought my initial set. Or maybe he gifted me a set. I don't know. He did give me a bag. In fact, you know what? Where is that? Where is that bag? This bag. Alright. So, he gifted me this bag. I bought like maybe 3, 4, 5 discs. I think I maybe bought 1 putter and like 2 mid-range and 2 long distance, which I'll talk about that in a moment. And that's what I started off with, which amazingly, these discs lasted a good 6, 7 years before they all got lost, except for the putter, which I brought other friends disc golfing. I created my own disc golf group in my area. We range anywhere from either 2, obviously, to maybe 6 or 7. I think the most we've ever had was, I think, 6 or 7. So, yeah, we have a pretty good grouping these days. And when you lend people discs, but it's not theirs, but they're going to try to play, and then they lose their shit. Well, I mean, it's nice. I mean, yeah, you lose a disc. That's okay. Sucks for me, but, I'm not going to, go after you. But it is nice when they do pay me back in discs to replace lost thrown discs. So all of my original discs, except for my putter, are all gone. So he pretty much got me into disc golfing back in the day, and you know what? Been happier since. I didn't have to buy too many discs over time, because the more I played, the more better I got at throwing, the less I actually started losing discs. When you start off, your first 1 or 2 years, you may lose a few discs, but I got too paranoid after throwing a few discs in the pond at Wales Community Center that you start to throw a lot more smarter after that, because you just can't be throwing all your discs into the water, which I did once, and that sucked. So, yeah. Disc courses across the country, and they're usually all free to play, except for a few, which is stupid. Why pay? Literally, the only thing you really ever should do for disc golf is buy some discs, find some friends, drive to a disc golf course, and then play. That's really how it should really be, and it normally is about 98% of the time. There are a few disc golf courses that you do pay to play, which is kind of stupid. You may throw and lose a disc that is worth more than what you pay to play. I don't get that. I would rather lose a disc but not have to pay to play. So I don't go to those courses, because you know what? If I'm already spending money on gas to get somewhere and throwing money away by losing discs, do I really need to pay more? No. And I think a lot of these disc courses are becoming free anyway, because people realize they don't pay anyway. There's one in Milwaukee that you have to pay to play, and I never paid, because you know what? Screw it. There's no point. It's so self-maintenance on its own. I think they're only trying to get money from the grass cutting portion of it. Really, if you can't afford to cut grass in a park, you got your own internal issues that you got to figure out, because disc golf players shouldn't be paying your lawn services. That's the only thing I can think of is why they need money, is to cut grass. And if you're part of a park district, that should already be covered. So I really don't know. It's profit. It's stupid. Don't pay for a course, people. Just play. And if someone tells you if you've paid, just say you paid. That's what I've always said. And a majority of holes, or courses, tend to be 18-hole. And there's some courses that are actually 9-hole. And there are very, very few that are partial. Like under 9 holes, which I don't understand. Interesting, but I don't get it. 9-hole. Maybe it's such a small enough park that you're only able to get 9 holes, but you might be able to play twice. So even with a 9-hole course, you can play it again. And you might even get better the second time around. So, again, 9 holes, alright, you just play the game twice. Or if there's a nearby one, which, well, you're then driving to another park, which will take time. Depends on your time of day when you play. 18 holes is kind of where it is, because you play the whole game all in one spot. You have fun. 9 holes takes about I would say an hour. I've actually timed to play a 9-hole game is about an hour, at least with my group. And we tend to throw pretty far now. Back in my beginning, I felt a bit embarrassed with my throws because they went all the way up in a high parabola trajectory and didn't get too far. Now I've actually honed my own little, I guess what you call a forehand throw. I've been able to perfect that more and started throwing with that in the last 4 years than I have doing backhand throw. So, over time, there is skill in the game. However, unless you're a really, really terrible throw, like you don't know your own biomechanics of how your arm works, and you don't know how to exactly flick or throw, you can pick up this game within a summer. You could even pick up your throw within a game. It's like driving manual. Within 10 minutes, you're doing just fine. Under 10 minutes, you're still learning. I would say within a summer's worth of playing disc golf, you're going to get things down real fast. And you'll learn not to lose as many discs during that time as well. So that's why I don't lose discs often unless I lend them to someone new who's never played, and I know I may lose a disc. It's going to be one of my drivers, or it's going to be my my mid-distance. Normally my long-distance ones gets lost, because that's what I normally throw with. I tend to either use, well, really putter and long distance, but I guess let's talk about personal preferences. Yeah, you definitely need a putter, because you know what? It's easier with putter when you get within about 25 yards to a basket. So I typically use putter at that distance. You might be able to get in with that, but you can get closer. Use a mid-range or a long-distance driver 25 yards away from a basket. You're going to overshoot it unless you aim directly at it and you miraculously get it in. Which I actually threw what was almost like 70 yards from the basket with my long distance driver, and I was able to play the game with only 2 throws, or at least that one hole. And we went nuts. For some reason, I'm good with long distance birdies or eagles. I forget what they're called. But typically, if a set of discs came with a mid-range disc, I'll definitely use it. But I tend to buy long distances because I don't tend to carry a bag often. I just like to carry 2 discs with me. Plop one where I landed, pick up the other one, and throw, which if you lose a disc, then you're playing with 1 disc, so, you're at a disadvantage. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting too confident with my throws where I can throw far, I can get where I need to, but I'm not throwing wildly into the tree line or into tall grass, that I know that I'm still going to find my discs, which I tend to do pretty good at. Finding my discs. I've not lost a disc personally in a long time. It's normally my friends that lose my discs, but hey, if I get discs back, that's fine. Or if I find someone else's disc, mine. So, yeah, courses, 9, 18 hole. Partials are kind of stupid. Paying for course is stupid. So let's talk about different kinds of discs. Excuse me. We have the putter, which should only be used for basket shots, because if you're going to use a putter for a long distance throw, you're not going to get anywhere. And they're a bit more predictable. They veer off to the left or the right depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, but you can never throw a putter straight. They always have this curve. Or at least to me. For some reason, I've never seen a putter fly straight. Just doesn't normally work. It's just aerodynamics, which, you know what? Let's pull one out. So this is one of my only original putters left. Actually, this is my only original disc I started playing back in 2012. And if you lose a putter, that's amazing. Hence why I still have it. Because you only throw it within eyesight of the basket. And you can tell with a putter, it's pretty round. It's a round edge. It's not meant to cut through the air that efficiently. It's not meant to go far. So, and the more that you throw this, the better you understand the dynamics of this edge and this weight of disc. When you throw 25 yards and closer to a basket, you can probably plan where your disc could land, where it could curve, and you work along with that. You work with the disc at that point. If you work against it, you're not going to get anywhere near your basket, but I don't know. I feel like these are pretty predictable. So with that, mid-range. So mid-range offers more control, but it goes the less distance than a long-range driver. Those tend to fly pretty flat. In fact, let's see if I have, because I don't normally on purpose buy mid-range. Okay, I amazingly have a mid-range, which all of this lettering is in backwards, so you know what? I can't help you there. So the edge for mid-range is a little bit curved on the top, but it tapers off on the bottom. But it's not a defined point. So, you know, this will fly very flat. You have much more control. Or else this is more predictable, the putter. Putter is more predictable on how it flies. This is just the constant flat control flight path. I don't know. However, it depends on how, like, when you let it go. I would say I'd say that's an unpredictable part of any disc throw, really. This is more control. And it might maybe go 100 yards, 200 yards. I don't know. Maybe. I rarely buy these, but when they come in a set, I'll still use them. I'm not just impartial to just long drivers or long distant drivers. It's just I like to at least throw as far as I can because I've perfected my throw now that with my forehand flick I could throw pretty far now, which is kind of nice. So mid-range. Now let's see if I have a long distance driver. Here we go. Distance driver. And look at that point. Look at that point. It looks like the USS Enterprise D. If you're a Star Trek nerd, you know what I'm talking about. This is meant to go as far as you could possibly throw it because this edge offers little resistance. However, because that it is long distance, you really don't know where it could actually land. It's a bit less predictable as far as where it could go because eventually there's going to be a curve left, right. And there's these ratings. I know with the Nova, actually I think there is. These do have ratings. And Nova's got them on the bottom of all their discs, but I rarely ever read those because you know what? I sort of understand them and I sort of don't, and I kind of don't care because I'm just going to understand the disc for what it does anyway, so I don't know. I like the struggle. Sorry about that. You know, with me, people tend to interrupt anything that I do because apparently That just happens. Annoyingly. I actually dislike it. Fuck. Alright, so where the fuck was I? So I was talking about discs. So we were talking about long distance drivers, which I did show that one. There's another kind of disc called a roller. These discs are really meant to roll down hills or flatlands. You can maybe throw them up a hill, but you're fighting gravity and a hill. Going up, you're going to slow yourself down. It's probably not worth it. I've never bought a roller. I've never really used a roller, so I can't really say what I think about it because all my discs roll anyway. So if I really wanted to use a roller, I just had to roll like, I don't know about a putter, maybe a mid-range. Mid-range might be enough to actually roll better than long range or a putter. So maybe. There's also a hybrid for both mid-range and long distance. So they'll do the job of both, but it won't go as far as long distance, but it'll be further than mid-range. But you would think that'd be a really good Goldilocks zone. But I like my distant drivers. And again, I mentioned something about reading a disc. It's these little stat charts, these little diagrams on the bottom. There's fade and there's turn, and it's explained online. I'm maybe not the best person to really explain it. But apparently, if you know enough about reading stats and using it to your own advantage, yeah. For me, I don't read in too much into stuff. I just rather do. Because sometimes whatever discs... See, if you lose a disc, now you got to get used to another disc. Just throw a disc. Learn how it flies, and then use it to your advantage with how you throw. I think that's more of a challenge than reading a disc and using what the disc can do for your advantage. Once you understand it, throwing and tracking becomes really, really, really easy. Then you are really, really a pro. Ooh. Me, I just don't care. I know enough what a particular disc will do, and I'm going to throw it. And I'm going to throw it to counteract what the disc is going to do, or go along with the disc to what it will do, use it to my own advantage without really too much thought. And the past 8 years, I've been doing pretty fine with that. Yeah. It's something to consider, but I never pay too much attention. I have another putter, and then I have an ordinary disc, and then I have another putter. Holy moly. Then I have another putter. Wow. Look at this. I have a champion disc. Distant driver. These are expensive. Or I think what they are, these are like champion style discs. These are for PDGA approved. So I think for ultimate disc golf or something like that, you use only these. Whereas if you're just ordinarily throwing stuff, you could just simply use these guys. So I found this one in the field. Something about discs. So you could put your name and phone number on here. I can't tell you how many discs I lost over 8 years from other people. I may have lost maybe 5 discs on my own, but I've had maybe 8, 10, 12 discs just lost by friends just getting into the hobby, which I don't mind, but that puts a dent in my pocket a bit. But it is nice when they repay me back with discs, which I can appreciate that. So, still no hard feelings really. It's just it becomes a pain in the ass. Like, uh-oh, looks like I gotta buy more discs, and more about that in a moment. And you could put your name and your phone number down on each disc, and hoping that some good Samaritan will call you and say, "Hey, I found your disc." Often enough, it doesn't happen. Yeah. Of all the discs I've ever lost, especially ones with my phone number on it, nope, never actually had anyone call back. In fact, Nimadro, he has a disc that looks like he has between 3 and 4 people's names on it at one point. I call it the Salmon, because he is now the current owner of the Salmon. And it does look like, because there's certain names and parts of the disc scratched off from previous owners who had owned the disc and Sharpie over it. So I find that funny that you most, like in this case, actually these two I found just by playing. You do get lucky, but often enough, hey, if I lost a disc, but then I find another, am I gonna really call someone and say, I found your disc? If you didn't find it and someone else did, you know what? You gave someone else a disc. Because I've certainly given a lot of people discs. So, don't want to sound selfish. It's kind of the draw of the luck with this game, is if you can find your disc, it's still your disc. If you lost your disc, someone's gonna find your disc. However, one time, Nimadro had gotten a phone call saying that someone found his disc. Oh, are you Mr. Gordy? I'm like, yeah. I found your disc. It's mine now. And then hung up. He both died a bit on the inside and laughed. Because that is funny, because he's never had, or at least this is his first or second time that's ever happened to him, where someone called him that they found one of his discs and just, yep, okay, it's mine. Yeah, at this point, I stopped putting my names on my name and phone number on disc, because you know what? Give someone a chance to call you in the middle of the night, and they know your name. Yeah, I don't do that with any of my discs anymore. I could put my furry name on it, but most cases, when you lose a disc and you can't find it, it's going to be someone's when they find it, but they'll never call you if you do have your phone number on it, they won't call you. So let's just quickly talk about types of throws. There's both backhand, forehand, hatchet or tomahawk throw, overhand wrist flip, just different types of throws. Normally, backhand and forehand are pretty common, and the rest take some time to get to kind of master. I just stick to forehand as my primary throw. It used to be backhand, and then I realized my forehand throw was a lot more controlled, a lot more powerful, and just worked better for me. A lot of people will find what works for them. Typically, it's either backhand or forehand throw, and I will only use forehand throw about 90% of the time. And if I ever needed to, I could use backhand. It's not to say I don't want to use backhand. I know that I have more control and more strength through the flick of the hand on the disc to go as far and curve as much as I want it to, which mine always curves to the right. If I am, I don't know, they mention that if you're right-handed backhand thrower, it's going to curve to the left. But if you are a right-handed forehand thrower, it's going to curve to the right. That's what I've discovered. So, and vice versa, left-hand backhand throw, you're going to curve to the right. And if you are a forehand left-handed user, you're still going to curve to the left. So you can actually go around trees like that. It's kind of cool. That's why you use your type of throw to your advantage. Not so much the disc, more of your throw and what you can put on the disc as far as toss and spin is really, it's really what's going to actually get you anywhere. So, yeah. So figure out what works for you. And lastly, let's talk about brands of discs. I think the most common that most people tend to use, and I'm looking at what I already have, and I have half and half of Innova discs and Discraft discs. Do I prefer one or the other? Not really. Yeah, some people tend to be brand snobs. You see that by buying a laptop, buying a car, buying a phone, and then of course you may find some disc golfers who are very snobby in what type of brand you use. And to be honest, I don't care. I frankly do not care. So as long as I still have a disc in hand and I can keep playing a game, that's all that matters to me. I've had good luck with Discraft and Innova discs. I've lost both of them, so you can still lose both of them, so it doesn't really exactly matter. And they cost about the same. And I think the cheapest disc you probably could get are like, let's say, so two putters, for example, from both Innova and Discraft. These are about either like $7 to $9. Although these are the ones you'll likely never lose because they're putters. They're not meant to go far. You're not meant to throw them far. Okay. So, these you'll know you'll have them for life. I can't believe I found a putter, which means someone used the putter as mid or long distance thrower, because you just don't use this from far away and then you lose it. Because these things will go anywhere if they're meant to be thrown far. They're not meant to be thrown far. So, looking online, how to get started. What kind of costs are you looking at? And it can be a bit expensive, but that's when I say a brand's a brand. You really don't need... I mean, I would say the most expensive disc I have, and it's not one that I actually bought, it's just one I found, are these guys. And I think these are like $15, $20 a piece or something like that because they're champion discs. Which, of course, a lot of people tend to use these things because play like a champion, which, okay. I do appreciate how this thing throws. Would I maybe buy a few more? I might, maybe. But I'm also afraid to also lose them. But these do fly really nice. But will any disc fly? Yeah. Really. It's not so much the brand. It's just really the weight. The weight and the material. That's kind of it. And it's kind of... there's not much to it, although I'm sure there's a lot more to it. But in my experience, there's not a whole lot to it. You can buy, so on Amazon, you can buy whatever you want because it's going to be your money. You're going to get yourself into this fun sport, because it is fun. You can play for you can play for a competition, or you could just play with friends and just see who can score the lowest on each hole. There's still some competition, but it's still fun though. It's not meant to get in your face. But it can be pricey when you're looking at individual discs. You're better off buying them in a pack that way. Plus, you get all sorts of different discs too, and most packs tend to be most packs are 3-disc, 5 or 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6, and sometimes 9. So you can buy these starter packs, which, you know what? Who cares if it's called a starter pack? Because you know what? I buy starter packs because I need discs. In fact, looking at what I have, I could really use a few more because I have more putters than I have. Like, wait, okay, so 1, 2, and 3. I have 3 of these bastards to actually play my game, and I have 4 putters. I should really have maybe 8 of these things and maybe only 2 putters. Although, it's nice to have extra putters for friends, because I do loan my discs out with other friends. So it is nice, I guess. I don't know. I still need to buy a few more sets. Now it's the off season, although now it's supposed to get more expensive. Maybe cheaper. I don't know. It's like buying a snowblower in summer. No one's going to buy them because it's not winter yet. But you might get it cheaper. But then in the summer, costs might be a little bit higher because people are playing. And then in the winter, no one's playing so much. So costs are a bit down just to sell them. So I don't know, I might maybe buy a few more sets because I do enjoy getting people into the hobby, much like how Nimadro. So it's hard saying your name, dude. I'm just gonna have to keep saying it. It's a fun hobby. I'm absolutely glad I was able to get involved in it, and it's a lot of fun. It's more fun with friends. I played only once by myself, and I'm gonna tell you this. It sucks. This is totally a 2-player game. Doesn't have to be. It should be. Because it's really much more fun with a friend. Because playing by yourself is just kind of sad. So yeah, so brands. Pick anything. Even the cheapest brands. Hey, they'll get you in. Even I think the cheapest brand that you can get is like this. I forget the brand because I don't focus too much on brands too much. I like Innova and I like Discraft. Will I pick other things just to fill my inventory? Maybe, probably. If I end up getting more of these brands, sure. I'm still maybe a bit indifferent, but I know of them, and who knows, just pick up more. So a disc could cost anywhere from $7 to $15 to $20. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Some cost more than that, and I think that's kind of stupid. If you're just getting into the hobby, find the cheapest starter pack you can find, just in case if you don't care for it, you didn't spend too much money. And if you do enjoy it, buy another one, because you might maybe lose a few along the way. But after a year or two, you're going to be so good at throwing that you will definitely understand your throw. You will definitely understand your discs, and you will throw much smarter to avoid losing your discs. So there we go. So this is just an interesting topic for today. I thought I just ended my disc golf season the week of Halloween because you know what? It's getting colder and yeah, COVID. scares are going up the COVID scares, it's through the roof with me. It's stupid, and cases are going up like wildfires. So I thought, just for the safety of my group, just to kind of call it quits for the year. Start back again next year, and hopefully things aren't so insane. Because this is a fun sport and hobby. It's relaxing, you're in the outdoors, you get some fresh air, you get some exercise, and you hang out with your friends. I think that should be something you should be focused more about, and then the sport comes after, because it's fun. And you get to challenge yourself a bit. Even if it's not competitive play, you can still give yourself a challenge of how good can you throw? And you keep getting better at it. And it's incredible. So, well, with that, I believe I've talked everything else about disc golf. I miss it already. But that just means the off season I could buy a few more sets just to stock up a bit for the next year and play again when the weather is nicer, and hopefully they don't shut down everything to the point where everything even outside is shut down because of COVID, which we started playing in I've been playing since 2012. I've had a group since 2017. As far as I know, I think it was 2017. No, it was 2018. I had a group since 2018. So this is our third season out. And this is the first time where we had a season that was kind of abrupt. It was an abbreviated 2020 season because we only started playing back in late June or early July, when normally we start to play around maybe April or May. April's a good time. You go to a disc golf course in March or in April when it's still snowing out, but you can still, after the snow's gone and you can see the fields flatten, you can actually find discs. That's the best time. Which I don't waste my time doing, because you know what, I got better things to do. But if you're really desperate to find discs for free, and you don't mind just going out in the middle of nowhere in a disc golf place and finding not as many discs, but you can still find discs, because there's always lost discs everywhere, you might be able to come back with a bag. And that's pretty fun. Maybe not the most honest way of acquiring discs, but hey, if no one else ever found them and people leave them behind, I'd say they're up for taking. So, anyway, I hope you enjoy my little subject about disc golfing, and something I enjoy doing. I'm quite glad I enjoy it, because it definitely fills in the void. It fills in a lot of fun time. Or it fills in the time when you're bored, you want to do something fun, you get friends out, you do disc golf. For me, my local area, we do every Thursday. That means we are past hump day, we are into Thursday, which means the weekend's just around the corner, and it's good to just relax, have fun with friends, throw discs, talk about stupid stuff, and just kind of just have fun. It's what I enjoy doing. So, if you're a furry, or a normie, and you want to get into disc golfing, find a local group. Or, if you really, really like disc golfing, and you want to get others involved, make a group. Make a group in your area. I would highly recommend it. So, happy throwing.